How we doing? Act 2 the podcast, episode 53. We are back in the building. How y'all doing? We doing good. How y'all doing? Act 2 the podcast, episode 53. It's your boy, International Walk.
And it's your girl, Taj, the co-hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, she back, boss. Two in a row. She back. She doing her thing.
I'm back for good.
She doing her thing. Act 2 the podcast. Don't forget, you can catch us at act2thepodcast.com. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on FaceTime. On Facebook. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on Google Podcasts. You can catch us on Anchor. You can catch us on Breaker. You can catch us on Radio Public.
There you go.
All right, there. And you can catch us on all them platforms. And you can catch us on FaceTime, too. For the people out there who know us, y'all can FaceTime us. You know what I'm saying?
Don't FaceTime us. Why would they FaceTime us? FaceTime us for what?
I'm talking about just FaceTime. Like, if people who know you, like, phone calls. Not like the show type stuff.
I was about to say call us for like an episode.
No,
Okay.
not like that. No,
Okay.
She took that the wrong way.
Yeah,
I meant like the people out there who know us, like family,
like, hey,
who we may have a
FaceTime us.
FaceTime with sometime.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
It's just
Not like
clarifying.
strangers FaceTime.
Look, because you know they have a FaceTime feature on Instagram.
No, I don't want strangers to FaceTime.
Yeah, okay.
No, I just meant the people who regularly
We do
FaceTime.
appreciate
who
the
normally
support
FaceTime.
though, but
Yeah.
don't FaceTime us.
It's crazy. How are you? How are you? No. How are you?
I am an emotional roller coaster, but I am okay. Today, I will say I'm not gonna lie, I'm a 7.
7. What's that, mental?
Yes, mental, and it's weird. I gotta look up some side effects of like the medication and stuff they gave me, because it's just been playing some tricks in my head, but I'm okay. Like, I'm not feeling like harming myself or harming anybody or
Suicidal
anything
or shit like
nah,
that.
not at all.
Okay.
Just, the reality of having, medical stuff going on at an older age, it just starts to mess with your head. But I know I'm gonna be okay. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm probably like a 7.
Which I want you to be. Nothing wrong with being a 7. You can be a 7 because eventually you go back up to 9, 10.
Yeah,
So
7 gives you room to grow. Yeah.
Back a few episodes ago, we used to say it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, and it still is.
So yeah, it's all good. Work.
Works a 10. I ain't there.
Yeah.
Works great, and I ain't asked about it. Works good. I guess. I hope.
Finances.
Finances are good. I won't complain. I'm gonna say finances are 9. That's how I feel.
So 7, 10, 9.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling today.
All right.
How are you?
Hold
No. How are you?
I'm fucked up. I ain't gonna lie. We sitting here being honest. I'm stressed the fuck out. I'm stressed to my gills. My mental, I'm on like a 5 right now.
Really?
I need sleep. Tired. I need sex. But I know my baby only 1 week in. With her recovery, there's 5 more to go.
I told him he could just like.
There's
I offered.
5
I
more
said,
to go.
let's have some body to body.
Can I get through my
Yeah,
thing?
I'm sorry.
So
Let it out, boo.
mental, I'm probably like a 5.
Do you need to cry?
No. But if after I rest tonight, usually in the morning, I might go back up to a 7. But right now, sitting here doing the show, mentally, I'm 5.
Y'all pray for my baby.
Work is an 8. Work's always good. I got good people. Work's good. Not worried about that.
That's
Cold
good.
as a motherfucker, but not. I'm good. So what's that for me?
A 5, a 8. What's your finances looking like?
5, 8. Finances is a 9. I'm gonna go with a 9 on the finances.
That's good to hear.
Yep, status quo. There's another saying for that, but I don't know what it is. So you are a 7, 10, and 9. I am a 5, 8, and 9.
Yeah, you got some room, but anything.
It'll balance out.
I'm
I
sure.
hope so. With some prayer.
I've never heard you at a 5, but
No.
again, we're honest and open. We got a lot of things going on personally, professionally, not all good stuff. But along with good stuff comes a little stress, and anything worth having is worth working for. And when you're working for it, it can become stressful. So we got it, babe, and I got you. I'm sorry, I'm not at full capacity to be able to help you. I know you're not blaming me, but I'm just saying I know that could help relieve some stress, and then
going to get that good weed gonna help relieve tomorrow.
I could also relieve stress in some other ways. Well, it is Friday, Saturday if you're watching it, but I'm just saying I could help you. All right.
Cool.
What's your wows and woes for this week? What you want to start with?
Woes. What's yours?
My woe for this week. I'm gonna say there was another. I'll just say this: the news is my woe, and that's so broad in general. And I don't want to go into too many specifics, but some people might say this is ignorant. I really try. I don't watch the news. I try to stay updated on things.
It's like a 20-year cliche with everybody. I don't watch the news. I
know I don't, and I didn't watch the news, but I read these news stories that happened, recently this week, and it's just heartbreaking. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. Another fire. This one in New York City. More people dead, and again, like we talked about the fire that happened in Philly last week. Anytime it's a fire, it's horrible, but I think we hear about them in the wintertime because of that. People trying to stay warm.
Yeah, and I don't think people fail to realize we just heard 15 kids die, 6 and 9. So that's staggering.
No, it's 8 in Philly and 9.
Oh, so 17. Yeah, 17 children just perished like that. That's
within 7 days.
That's a woe.
Or less.
Yeah, that's definitely a woe.
Yeah, so that was my woe.
Wow.
You know what, my woe for this week, I thought about. I know we talked about a couple episodes about black businesses and things like that and what your experience is. I have to say, and this ain't no paid advertisement because we pay our bill, but we have a media marketing company that we use called Appetize, black-owned company. And I have been, if y'all notice, some of the, more social media presence that we have been having. We have been working diligently and increasing our social media footprint. And we're learning a lot, and it's a black-owned company, and that for me was just my wow. The other day or a couple nights ago, whatever it was, I was just thinking like, wow, this is just really awesome because it's a lot that goes into social media postings and stuff like that from a business perspective. Yeah, it's all fun and entertaining and stuff, but it really is work. But it just made me proud to think, we talked about working with black-owned businesses and stuff, and we haven't had any negative experience. So I will say, again, this ain't no paid advertisement. But this is because of our good experience. If you are a business owner in any capacity, you don't have to be a podcast, but if you are a business owner in any capacity and you want to increase your social media marketing, I would highly suggest Appetize. It's APPADTIZE, Appetize. So that was my wow. Like I really thought about that. Like, this is one of those experiences where, you hear people complain when they have bad experiences with black-owned companies, but this has been a great experience for us.
Yes, sir. It has. Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to start with? Your wow?
My wow has been just, again, life comes with stress, so I'm not complaining. We're in a good place. We're not going through anything terrible, but we do have a lot going on. And I'm just glad I made it through another week without breaking the fuck down. I got tools in my bag, so I know when I feel, stress or anxiety, I'll be honest with you about it, communicate it, with you, and use my tools to, calm myself down or just get back in my happy place. So I'm just thankful that I got through another week, even dealing with stress and a little bit of anxiety. Just glad that I can properly place it.
And what was your woe?
Woe was the fires, the Bronx fire. It was another fire in the Bronx, and 9 more kids died. I don't know their ages, but
me either.
9 more kids died. That's, I don't know about brothers and sisters, but to me that's 9 different families that's fucked up forever. So that's condolences out to those families.
And adults died too, but
yeah,
yeah.
condolences out to those families, heartfelt sorrow, and that was my woe. That more kids perish a week after. It's always in succession with these things, with these fires. Like usually it's a mom and a couple kids around Christmas, but if you don't hear that, then you hear a fire happen, then another one, then another one, then another one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad, and then not to mention the people who are now homeless because of that. You know, God, thank God they were able to walk away with their lives, but in both situations, people now who are homeless, and yeah, you know, you might be able to stay with a relative for a weekend or something like that, but a lot of people aren't in a position to just have somebody fully move into their home, or for a lot of people are in a position to just pick up and relocate somewhere. So yeah.
And she just said something about the homeless. Let me just shift gears for a minute. The fucking cold makes me think about homeless people, and she just said that, which triggered something in my mind. But just the homeless people out there in the cold, like I don't know, just it makes me think about them when it's like 10, 12 degrees outside, like sleeping on vents and hoping that they get to a shelter or something like that. I know you can't just pick a homeless person up and bring them in off the street and bring them in your house.
Want to.
Yeah, but I mean, Jesus Christ, like in times like this, it's like you drive past people and see them on the street, and then in moments like this, I'm not even driving, but that thought is still in my mind about homeless people on the vents and 10-degree weather. Yeah. Can't say shout out to homeless people, but you know.
No, but you know what I will say, shout out to the people who work in shelters, people that work for the city, those who are in those social services fields that are trying to help. Again, you can't make homeless people go into a shelter, but there are resources. I did hear something, and I don't remember the name, but there is one shelter in Center City, I think like 12th and Vine or something, because we know there's still a pandemic. So, and you got restrictions on proximity of people. So some people that have COVID, you know, they don't have as many available spaces or beds, but there is a shelter that is accepting. I think it's a men's shelter. That's why they specifically said men, but they are accepting men with COVID. So I mean,
that would be the key word.
Yeah, that is a men's shelter. Because you know what, in my mind I was thinking, why only men? Because I'm thinking it being co-ed, but I guess shelters
rapes and shit like that.
I didn't think about that.
People,
I didn't think about that.
Can't mix up people like that. You got people off the street. Some lady might be homeless because she was raped, and you just can't.
I didn't think about that until this moment. Like, why did they say COVID positive men? But now it makes sense. So you know, of course we can't shout out the homeless people, but definitely shout out to those people working in the social services field that are trying to help and make a difference.
Yeah. So that was my wows and woes. Topic of discussion this week. My baby had a procedure last week. She shared that on the last episode, and you know, she was under the knife. So for that procedure, she was given propofol, and that's a high power narcotic, along with some other drugs and stuff, but that being the most powerful one. And then, you know, when they get you out the hospital, they kind of, you know, they flood you with these other drugs, these other prescription drugs. And it's not only what is it, a pandemic or epidemic?
Epidemic.
It's an epidemic of prescription pills, just like it was crack back in the 90s. And we never take them. We never, ever take them. We have prescriptions and bottles, not like laying around the house, but we can go to 2 or 3 bottles in a drawer that we have for 4 or 5 years that still got 10 Percocet in there from a toothache.
OxyContin,
or like we just don't fuck around with that shit. And she's been a trooper and not needing it, and been on just ibuprofen and Tylenol and things like that.
And that was only the first day.
Right. But it's a problem for doctors prescribing so many drugs, and what your body go through under these you know, Michael Jackson drugs, propofol and things like that. So speak to prescription drugs and the drugs you were prescribed and given during your procedure.
So this is the thing, right? I don't necessarily fault the doctors. I fault the policies and procedures, because there needs to be a change and not just a generic process that's followed. So of course, you know, you wake up and One of the things I can say was my first feeling was nausea, you know, which I hear is common. You know, it's not my first time being put under general anesthesia, being put to sleep. So I knew that that was to be expected, but it was like severe nausea. They gave me something that didn't really work. Then they gave me something else. Can't remember the name. And it's like, yeah, you know, this will make you a little drowsy. Well, it knocked me out. Don't know if that was a narcotic or not, but it knocked me out. Nevertheless, woke up again and they were like, okay, well, we'll give you something, you know, start preparing to go home. They gave me OxyContin while I was there. Okay, and in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, that's probably good because, you know, as the pain start wearing off, as the meds start wearing off as I'm waking up, this will be proactive in fighting the pain. And then they also gave me a prescription for Percocet. In my mind, I knew from previous things that had medical issues, was thinking.
And I have to cut you off. Oxycodone and Tylenol is Percocet.
Together.
We learned that. And I don't know if y'all know that, but I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know. I actually thought this, I was ignorant. I thought oxycodone and Percocet was interchangeable. I thought like oxycodone was just the generic name.
It's hydrocodone is the generic to that. It's hydrocodone too.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I found out. Oxycodone plus the acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, makes Percocet. You learn something new. So with that being said, I'm thinking like, God, I don't want to take this, but I hope the pain isn't severe like that. I'm gonna tell y'all something. It's a real transparency moment. In the last couple weeks, I have had some cramping and stuff like that. Ladies, that time of the month came. I have been constipated. Like, this is real transparency. I have been constipated. I felt a lot of things, but I didn't feel pain to the point that Percocet was needed. Now, and
discomfort, but not pain.
Exactly. Discomfort where, like he said, you know, I took a couple Motrin, I think the first night, and then I think the next day I took a couple Tylenol, and that was it. And it made me think like, wow, like how do they assess when you need this? Because now let me be and let me just stop for 1 second. Going back years ago, I had a medical emergency where I went to the hospital and was in severe pain. They sent me home, told me to buy my Lanta because they thought I was distributing. They thought that I was exhibiting
drug-seeking
behavior. Okay. Now, when I tell you, after that, I ended up having to go back to the hospital, had to have emergency surgery because I was almost dying. So that's why the pain that I was feeling was real. So I say all that to say, at that time, when I needed drugs, now that wouldn't have fixed my problem, but I was in severe pain. Y'all sent me home, told me to buy Malox or my Lanta because I was exhibiting drug-seeking behavior by telling y'all my stomach hurt. And now here we go, I have surgery, which I don't have the pain that I even expected me to have. But it makes me think, how do they assess pain levels? Because had I really been a person exhibiting drug-seeking behavior, I would have been happy.
Well, I can answer that because in the hospital, they assess pain levels with numbers and happy faces.
Well, but I mean,
faces.
how do they assess it in the sense of, okay, you had surgery, you're going home, we're going to write this. Do they ever do like a survey to ask, like,
no, when you of course they don't do a survey to say, have you ever taken these drugs
no,
what they might do to you?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Do they do a post-surgery survey to ask people to say, you know, when you went home after surgery on a scale of 1 to 10.
Let me get to that yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you go home post-surgery and you're on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level? Do you need that type of drug? Do you need that type of narcotic? Or can you just get some sick? Cause I didn't know they had 600 motion and 800 motion. Maybe you could get that, and you don't need Percocet, hydrocodone, and all that kind of shit.
Well, I mean, it's hard to ask somebody when they're leaving, but what I'm saying is to say, hey, hi, Natasha, you know, recently you had services provided at our hospital. Can you tell us about your experience? You know, on day 1, was your pain level from 1 to 10? On day 3, was your pain level from 1 to 10? On day 5, that way, if you start getting survey results and you realize, wow, people are saying on day 1, their pain level might have been at a 5. Day 3, it might have been at a 3.
I don't think people would be honest.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I don't think people will be honest because it's not us, but there's money tied to those pills. So I don't think people will be honest.
So you don't think the hospitals would be honest?
No, I don't think people would be
Oh,
honest.
you said money, meaning like they can get the pills, and if they don't take them, they can sell them.
Yeah, I think it's money behind it. So I think people will always say in this era, yeah, I'll take the perks. I know somebody in my family might want them and I can sell them. It ain't like I got to go on the street and sell them. Somebody in my family takes prescription pills and they'll probably buy them.
I didn't even think about that. That is
so
crazy.
You'll have the patient not being honest about it.
Okay.
So yeah,
well, that's why I say, okay, so my thought in saying changing policy and procedure, to your point, it might be a moot point because if people aren't going to respond honestly. But that was just my experience. I felt like, wow, they wrote me this prescription, and had I been a person that just popped pills, I learned when I was 16 or 17, I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and I was prescribed Tylenol with codeine. And literally, I had like a addiction moment for that week, and my mom had to take them away from me because I was taking them as prescribed every 4 hours or whatever. And she said, you don't even know if you're hurting anymore because you keep taking these pills. Like, let your body, like, you're medicating yourself so to not feel anything. But what if your mouth don't really hurt no more?
Yeah, you don't know if your pain is left or anything like that. When you Google these drugs, they have to give you a baseline of the baseline of addiction. And throughout hydrocodone, OxyContin, and Percocet, the addiction is 7 pills. And so my thing is, why are they always prescribed past the addiction? Because the lowest prescription is 10 pills. Even when you get wisdom teeth out or an extraction of one tooth, you're prescribed, if you want, 10 pills, when the baseline of addiction is 7 pills.
You know what I heard a while back, maybe a year or two ago? Dr. Oz said that if you are prescribed a narcotic and you take it as prescribed, not overdosing and taking more or anything like that, but if you take it as prescribed, by let's say if you get it for a 30-day period, if you take it as prescribed, by the 10th day, your body, maybe not mentally, you don't realize it, but your body has become addicted to those drugs.
Yeah.
And I think that's
especially if you finish the prescription.
Yeah, I think that's what happens with people, is that they take it as prescribed, but they don't take it as needed. Like if my prescription was for 30 days, I don't even know if it's every 4 hours or every 6 hours.
Every 4.
So if I was in here taking a Percocet every 4 hours for 30 days.
You're talking 6 a day. Right, yeah, that's 24 hours in a day, so 6 times 4 is 24. You're taking 6 pills a day.
For 30 days.
For 30 days, it's 180 pills.
I would be a
check you in a
perk
fucking
at the
clinic.
end of this month.
Yeah.
I think I would have been a perk hit at the end of the first
First off, you're going to have a shot liver. You're going to be severely constipated, because that's what prescription narcotics do to you. They dry your insides up and make you severely constipated. And 180 pills in 30 days, yeah, that's above. That's way too lenient with a prescription. Way too lenient. And even some people may take a teenager or something to the dentist or a hospital or something. They'll prescribe a kid, 15, 16 years old, Percocet, hydrocodone, and things like that. That's out of pocket. Like, and you wonder why it's an epidemic with people. Because if you get 10 pills and you take 7, the baseline of addiction is 7 pills. So in 7 pills, if you're saying there's a bigger chance on the side of 50% that I'm addicted, then why are you giving me 3 more?
Yeah.
You want to like make sure that I get addicted.
Yeah, that's what made me like.
I've never seen a perk script for 2 or 3. It's always 10.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Or 30 or 40, but the lease is always 10.
I know that's what happened to our nephew when he had his teeth pulled. And thank God my sister was like, absolutely not. Like, y'all can't prescribe him like a 800 Motrin or something. Like, I'm not giving this. And he's 17 now. I think he was like 15 at the time. And she's like, absolutely not. Like, I'll monitor his pain and give him medication as needed, but I don't want this. I'm not feeling this. Like, and just to think like, why you know, and I don't think the doctor's plan in their head is, let's get these people addicted. But I definitely think as they talk about the war on drugs and it being an epidemic and trying to, reduce this opioid addiction, they have to think about, and maybe they are. That's why they turned me away when I really was in pain. But at the same time,
that's how drug addicts come into the emergency room, though, acting like their stomach hurt and their back hurt and shit like that. Like
yeah, but look at the record. Like, this lady hasn't been here before.
But that don't mean you couldn't have got on heroin. You couldn't have got on drugs.
I agree, and I understand. But at that point, I was angry.
Do you think they should be prescribed at all?
Yeah. Okay. So I think about this: a person that's been like in a car accident, broken bones. I never, I broke my toe, but I can't, and I know how bad that hurt. I can't imagine the excruciating
Compound
pain
fracture
of having your femur broken. And so I would think
people that got on like hip casts and body casts.
I would think there is. But
shouldn't them people be like you should? I don't think you should be sent home with those drugs. I don't care what your injury is. Like maybe you should have a
nurse come out and administer, possibly.
But you shouldn't be sent home with a month worth of narcotics like that.
But then when you talk about the cost, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but money talks. You think about the cost of the medical industry. Do we give this person a prescription and let them be responsible and take it as they need it, or do we pay a nurse $50 an hour to travel to this person's house 3 times a day to give them a pill? So I mean that's what you guys that's how it's going to kind of. Now you do have situations like maybe if somebody has like a machine and it's timed and only spit one out every like something like that
thing.
Like a drip.
Yeah, people think in the hospital that they're on a morphine drip and they could plunge it and get morphine, but you only get it on a time. No matter how many times you hit the button, it's time to give you a shot.
You can only use a certain amount within a specific time frame.
Yeah, like whether it be if you're in severe pain every 15 minutes or something like that, but you can click it all you want.
So you remember,
but you're not going to keep giving yourself morphine, is what I'm saying. You kill yourself in the bed.
Right, and I don't want y'all to think like I'm some real sickly person. I've just had certain instances in my life, but this goes back to the same time when I was sick. They had to do emergency surgery. I was there during that time in the hospital. I had a OxyContin button I could push, and I'm gonna say how many days was I there? 6 days I was there. I might have pressed that button twice, maybe 3 times, like that, like early on in this day. And I remember the nurses saying like, "Oh, like you haven't been using your medication." I'm like, "Cause I used it as needed. I didn't like the way it makes me feel." And maybe I know this is a personal thing too, because maybe somebody else who had the same pain level may have used it more. But me, I think about not just that moment, like, okay, I'm hurting, but when I take this, now I'm going to feel groggy or I'm feeling nauseous. So I kind of weigh it, like, would I rather just feel a little bit of pain and manage it, or do I want all the other stuff to go with it? So it's just, it's a crazy world. But now I see from personal experience how easy it is. Like, when I can't believe they gave me Percocet and like Motrin, and
it worked.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
You have to use that stuff. With all the studies and information, and why aren't they prescribing cannabis more? And I mean, they do give it to cancer patients because they ask for it. So there is a way for cancer patients. It seemed like that community gets their hands on cannabis more than any other. What to call it?
Other demographics
that's sick like that. Like, I mean, I think they give it to people with HIV/AIDS and cancer, but I don't know about other stuff.
That's a good point, and I'm wondering, that's a great point. I guess too, you have to think, okay, one, not all doctors are able to prescribe cannabis.
Well, it's enough doctors. Not all doctors are able to prescribe it, but they can get a doctor to prescribe it.
I understand that.
Referred to somebody.
I understand it, but I'm just trying to think through it because I don't know. So I'm just throwing.
It's cool to say you don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking of possible reasons why they couldn't, and then maybe we know there's so much research about cannabis and cancer. And like cannabis and glaucoma and stuff like that, but maybe there isn't enough research to show that Or maybe they
I'm a
don't feel
medical
like
cannabis patient, right? So I have a medical card, so I can speak to this. And in the dispensary, medical cannabis is different from rec cannabis, recreational cannabis. It's what they call it in the community, rec cannabis.
in the community. I'm not
But,
part of the community.
So rec cannabis is different from med cannabis, and med cannabis is targeted. So you can go in and say, I have insomnia, and they can say, okay, you should have this strand with this amount of THC. Or you can go in and say, I have MS, and at night I get aches, and they'll say, okay, here's a high dose of THC in the 30s because you get pain like that and aches at night. This will put you to sleep. If you have a broken arm and you say you have pain, they can target that. So med cannabis is completely different from rec cannabis, where those ailments, all that kind of stuff, can be targeted by just going in there and being honest with them.
So you know what I'm wondering though, because you made a good point, except for the broken arm part. Okay.
I say that to be like, that's just pain.
No, I get that though, but when you think about a real medical condition, is it that cannabis is mostly prescribed for prolonged medical conditions? And just go with me when you think MS, cancer. Not to say cancer can't be cured, but it's usually for a longer time frame that you have to deal with it. If you think about like glaucoma, if you think about anxiety, PTSD, those are episodic periods of medical where medical treatment is needed. Those are more prolonged, whereas like, okay, a surgery, this is a medical episode that you're having. So maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there.
I wouldn't say that about anxiety, because you have anxiety attacks, so that can be episodic. But go ahead.
But the disorder though is still there. Just because you might not have a attack all the time, like you have anxiety.
No, I'm saying you threw anxiety in the non-episodic. It can be episodic because you have anxiety attacks.
Right, but I mean the condition of anxiety is prolonged. Right. So that's all I'm saying. Like, you have anxiety, ain't like it just go away just because you don't have the attacks are episodic. You're right. But
and depending on the person, you might have an attack every day. You might
right,
have an
or you
attack
have
every
once
other
a
day.
month.
Yeah, so.
But the anxiety is there. That's what I'm. So that kind of goes into the category with PTSD, MS, cancer, all of those prolonged ailments. Whereas if you have a surgery or you broke your arm, maybe the thought is, do we want to prescribe cannabis because once you're healed, this goes away, you will no longer need it, but then you may be addicted. So that's another thought from the medical community. It would be great to hear some feedback from a medical professional. Do we have any medical professionals out there?
In the cannabis community
Yeah.
that can speak to that?
Or just somebody who knows, like, as far as from a pharmacology standpoint, what is the parameters that's used to determine when cannabis is even it's even in the question of prescribing.
Considered to be
a probable solution.
I was going to say a solution. A solution to the problem.
Yeah, that would be great to know.
It's more dispensaries now than ever before. There's 7,490 recreational dispensaries across the country.
7,490. Wow. And just to think, you know what that made me? Just a asterisk on that. You think about all the people in jail.
Not there yet.
Okay. That just like
7,490,000 across, and that's just rec dispensaries.
Right.
Not med dispensaries. That's a whole different number. Sales reached 7.3 billion in 2019, and that's recreational.
7.3
billion in the country.
And that's just recreational. That's a lot of weed.
Yes, that's just recreational. What was I ready to say? Who you think is the fastest growing market for dispensaries in the country?
For dispensary owners or dispensary support, like people who shopping?
What state is opening up dispensaries more than any other state?
Oh, you said who? I thought you were talking about people. Okay, so what state do I think? In my mind, I would think California, but if you say opening up, I would think they may already have. No, I'm gonna say California.
California has more growers.
Okay,
than
so
anywhere
what
else.
state?
But what state has more dispensaries? Oklahoma is the fastest growing market for dispensaries. They're first in numbers of dispensaries and first per capita.
Wow, you know what? That's surprising to me because I think of Oklahoma as being like a part of those Bible Belt states.
They're smoking a lot of dope.
Yes, and they're so close to
and they
Texas.
got all the fucking fields over there.
But they're so close to Texas too, and I don't think weed is legal in Texas.
Mm-mm.
And that's my ignorance. I ain't never been to Texas or Oklahoma, but I kind of think of them of being of the same mind, but obviously not. Wow, Oklahoma. Would you travel? Would you visit Oklahoma?
I would go anywhere
With me?
I mean, I would visit Omaha, Nebraska. I told you that before. Like, I'll visit Iowa. I probably won't go to South and North Dakota. Then again, I might want to go to Fargo.
I love that movie Fargo.
Just because of their accent.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to New Orleans, which is this is a sidebar. How many times have I told you I don't want to go to New Orleans?
A lot of times.
And we've been together for 20 years. How many times have you heard that?
A lot.
A lot. Why don't I want to go to New Orleans?
Because you don't want to eat that food. That's not your that's not your cuisine of choice.
What did you cook last night?
I made like a gumbo.
With what? What's the seasoning?
But
what were you trying to imitate?
I was trying to imitate like a Creole seasoning.
Okay, my wife of 20 years, we've been together. Okay, she's heard it's on tape. She's heard over and over and over and over again that I don't want to go to New Orleans because I don't like the cuisine. I don't like how they dance in the street for funerals and stuff like that. It's just not my thing. And I'm not shout out to anybody from New Orleans. I ain't trying to down on y'all. It's just not my thing. She makes a dinner and says, okay, this is gumbo with Creole seasoning.
Well, okay, let's also say this. What is a food that for the first time in 20 years I have made for you probably 5 times in the last 2 months and you absolutely love it?
I don't know.
What's your new, I don't want to say your favorite, but your breakfast dish of choice?
Grits? Oh.
No.
Shrimp and grits.
Okay. And how many times before 2021 have you eaten shrimp and grits?
Because I thought it was stupid. I thought that grits go with chicken. So
now you said you thought it was stupid. So sometimes, and I know how my husband is, he can go
20 years I've been saying this.
He can hear of something and be like, But my husband loves me, and I know what he likes. I know what his belly likes. So sometimes
I know what I like, and I know what my belly likes.
But you thought you didn't like shrimp and grits.
But I don't like gumbo. Okay. I don't like gumbo.
I will never
don't
make
like New
gumbo
Orleans.
again.
I don't like Creole seasoning.
I will never
shift back to the show. But again, it's just on tape. Something we'll take to therapy too. Like, are you listening to me for 20 years?
To therapy, really?
Just saying.
I ain't never making gumbo again. It wasn't that good anyway.
Worldwide.
It wasn't. I tried.
Worldwide, the market for weed will be $66.3 billion by 2025.
Wait, so they made 7.3. Dang. And
so worldwide, the weed market will be at $66.3 billion by 2025. And what I have to say to that is worldwide, everyone who went to prison for weed should be out by then, by 2025. Yeah. If y'all going to reach $66.3 billion by 2025, then I don't care if a dude went to jail for 200 pounds of weed, he should be out.
Yeah.
He should be out. I don't give a damn. If he went to jail, if he was selling crazy amounts of weed, he should be out of jail by the time 2025 come and the worldwide record is 66.3
I think they're going to do it. I think the conversation...
Like, nobody should be in jail for a nickel bag at that point.
I think the conversation about the legalization of marijuana is snowballing so rapidly that they are going to let people out. Excuse me. It hurts to cough, y'all. I'm sorry.
You all right?
I had the cough, but my stomach hurt.
Was that because of the smoke?
Something was in my throat. I felt like I swallowed a splinter or something all of a sudden. Sorry. I think the conversation about the legalization of marijuana is snowballing so rapidly. I'm sorry. I just got
You
sidetracked.
said it. Go ahead.
That they're going to have to let people out. Okay, so I had some weave in the house, like hair weave, and he stuffed it up on a clothes rack, y'all. And it just caught my eye, thinking to myself, what the hell?
Fucked up.
Then climbed up. So that was the moment where I just kind of snickered a little bit because it caught my eye because it's a bundle up there hanging off my rack of clothes. But yeah, but back to the point, I really do. I think they're going to have to. Mm-hmm. Like it's too much pressure. Like it's too much. It's good. I think there's going to be too much pressure.
If anybody is in jail just for marijuana, I'm not talking about marijuana and a murder, marijuana and 6 robberies. But if you in jail for just weed and you got 10 fucking years in the 90s and 20 years when they was giving out all that time for weed. Like by 2025, if they had 66.3 billion that they're making on it now, then yeah. And also, I think by that time, the government will get on it because it's still not federally legal. Right. So that means all the dispensaries can't insure themselves, which leads to these 10-foot wall safes that they have in these places filled with cash. And if it's not federally legal and they can't insure themselves, do you know what other business? This is how the trickle down effect it booms. Do you know what other business it booms because of that?
What other business it booms?
Because it's not federally insured, so they can't put the money in banks because the banks won't insure the cash. What do you think? What other business is insured due to that?
I would think it would boom the security industry.
Access controls, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Something that I use at work all the time, and it just like blew my mind to think, damn, now everybody calling for card swipes and access controls to get in your space because people can come in there and rob it. Yeah, it's crazy because even in some dispensaries when they open the doors and go in the back, now all of them is set up where it's just the weed, but sometimes when they run out of weed, they go in the back and they may open the door and you may see fucking 5. I'm talking safes you need a forklift for or a truck for. Like you gotta build shit around these safes so big, and it's like, damn, like that's where all the money is going.
Let me ask a question. So 2025 come, right? And they haven't released all of the people who have been, or they haven't dropped all marijuana related charges. So let's not say release all the people because, again, if you're there for something else, you may still be there. But they've dropped all marijuana related charges. If you can come home, you home. If they haven't done that and everybody decides they're going to boycott the dispensaries, you boycotting?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not boycott the dispensaries here.
Okay. Okay, just asking.
No, why we want to boycott? Why would we do that though?
Because they making $66 billion, but they not letting the people out. You got to make a stand.
Who, me?
I'm saying you as in the people.
All the people? Or is it going to be some more people at home talking about, look at the people out there, I'm in the house smoking? Everybody ain't going to do that.
You'll help them in a different way. I
would sign a petition. I would, maybe go to a town hall meeting or something like that. But I don't think I'm going.
No boycotting.
No, we're not going to stand out front of the dispensary and.
I got you.
No, we're going to do nothing like that.
All right.
In all the dispensaries and all the marijuana industry, how much of us do you think you see? When I say us, I mean blacks.
So I'm just going to throw a ballpark number out there. I'm going to say 10%.
First off, no, you're wrong at that, and we'll come back to that, but you're wrong. You're actually high. In Massachusetts, no blacks or Latinos have applied for a license because of the stringent process in getting them. On record, they don't even have blacks and Latinos apply
in Massachusetts at all.
Yeah,
but that is something that I've heard. I seen some other information. This was specifically about California, and it wasn't about black people per se, but it was just talking about the process of getting like being well, this was about growers, so I know dispensaries are different, but still, just the bureaucratic red tape that you got to go through, which is so crazy when you think about the government stops in the process, but it's still a difficult process.
It's a insanely difficult process. I've heard podcasts of people who lost $20 million trying to get in the industry. And for black people, it's sometimes, well, all the time, you apply for your license, right? Then you have to start your company. You have to hire hundreds of people and do all this overhead and wait for them to tell you, yeah. Like, you have to show how much diversity. This is how much they don't want black people in there. You have to show them, in some small companies, you have to show them a diversity plan of who you're going to have on your team first before they say yes or no.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So you apply for a license, you're waiting for approval, you hire all these people. What the hell are the people doing if you don't have approval to have a business yet?
Setting up the business. You need people to set up a business. You can't just like start Tuesday morning.
I mean, okay, so you're hiring you're hiring people from the higher level, not the work. Okay,
no, you need a structure.
Got you.
To be in. First of all, you need a.
But then what if you don't get approved? Then you don't.
Exactly. And lots of and then you can't do anything with that. You probably can sell it off to somebody who does have a license, but you just spent all this money and probably not gonna get it all back.
Right. Wow.
I heard that from Al Harrington. Like, he spent a lot of money trying to get started, but he's been in it so long, and I guess that basketball money kind of long. You could stay in it, and now he respected in it and got the Viola brand, which is popping.
That you make a good point.
Next time we go to LA, I'm getting Allen Iverson.
I'm happy that you mentioned Al Harrington, not him specifically, but a wealthy black person in this conversation, because I was going to ask, is it, we hear about Snoop and we hear about I know Shawnee O'Neal, she was getting into that industry, so it makes me think, is it one of those things where like race is less of an issue than it is class? Like, because it's really like the wealthier people.
It's both, because it's a criminal law act that says if you were locked up for weed, it's called the First Step Act. You locked up for weed, you get out of prison, you have the opportunity to be an entrepreneur and go into the marijuana industry.
Okay.
But you need capital. So in order to get capital, now just think about this. You're a guy who just did 20 years. A lot of people probably disconnected from you in 20 years. You've been in prison. They give you an opportunity to get into the marijuana business. Now you need capital. And I think the cost, the first upfront fees is $3 million. So who the fuck does somebody, if you just did 20 years in jail, who do you ask for $3 million? Who do you know to go to? How you gonna get a loan and you just did 20 years for $3 million? So it's like they're giving you the opportunity because the law says we have to give him the opportunity. He's black. He's been locked up for it. But we know he don't have the capital to do so.
So would it make sense?
And people like Shawnee and Snoop and Al Harrington, the people who do have the millions of dollars, they make it hard for them. It's not a law. They're not a part of the First Step Act. They wasn't in prison for marijuana. Right.
So in that case, but going back to what you said though, needing $3 million off the bat, is it fair to say that that it regular everyday people like us, like that ain't an industry that's for us unless like you have some you have some connections and you have a network of investors that's going to give you capital? Because where's your everyday, if you tomorrow will decide, babe, I want to start Act 2 the dispensary,
then the government needs to step in and legalize it at the federal level and administer better banking practices and low interest loans, so people like me can get in. I can get a loan and get into the marijuana industry. They don't have any low interest loans for a person like me. If I'm a felon or something like that, then I can't get in.
So can you get,
change the practices of the banks, make it is legal at the federal level, so all the money's insured. Now you don't have to worry about security teams and all that kind of stuff and swipe cards. And
so the federal level, that will you have more banks, more access, lower interest loans. That sounds good. can you get, and I'm completely ignorant to this is why I'm asking, so can you get a small business loan or a loan period, a business loan to open a dispensary since it's not federally approved? Like,
No.
Wow. So
No.
again, that takes me back to,
they're giving you the opportunity, but they know you don't have the capital to go to
that's what
it.
I'm saying. That takes me back to it's a race issue. I get it, because black people have disproportionately been hurt by, the laws against marijuana.
Yeah.
But also,
it's like trying to write something down, but you never get a pen.
But it's more of a class issue, because it's not for the lower class, it's not for the middle class, it ain't for the upper middle class, it ain't for the high class. It's for the very wealthy, it sounds like. And that, the very wealthy ain't black or white, it's green.
It's 1%, yeah. The people are the top wealth of the world, yeah, that's 1% of the people.
So to me, it sounds like that's the biggest hurdle.
It's the people from Dubai, the princes can get in the marijuana industry. Now you've got guys like Berner, who, started out small and ended up with a huge brand and in the marijuana industry. So it can happen for some small people.
Is that
you got people like Gilly
cookies?
now who, you got people like Gilly now who got his own strain. And I mean, I don't know how good it do, but to have your own strain, Nori got his own strain.
Okay, so now you're confusing me though. Having your own strain is one thing. Having a dispensary is another thing, though.
True.
Okay,
True.
so because you can have your own strain that can be at multiple dispensaries.
It's a toe in the door is all I'm saying.
But you don't have to have a dispensary to have your own strain.
No, you just have to get with people who grow, and it takes like 2 years for them to cultivate what you like and grow it and have enough of it.
Wow. so is it okay, let's just say, and again, I'm learning about this world, because I think this is one of those things that, like, social media created created new career paths that 20 years ago weren't jobs. Like a social media manager, the fact that we're using a black owned media marketing company to learn about social media engagement, like, these are new doors that are opening in career paths that I think probably in college, you don't need a degree, but they'll start teaching about. With marijuana, I think it's the same thing, and not new in a sense, because farming has been around forever, but this is different. Like, I don't know how it works with people that grow corn. Like, can you say, you have a farm, right?
That's a different type of money, though.
Right.
Corn don't even compare to marijuana.
I'm just using it as an
commodity.
Example. Okay, but let's just
corn, coffee, orange juice, shit like that. You can't even the money that shit makes doesn't even compare to marijuana.
Scratch the corn. No corn. No corn. That just made me
Those are things like if they're commodities. If they didn't exist, the world couldn't run.
Right, I
without
get it.
Those things.
I get it. So let's scratch that. Going back to the farm. If I'm a farmer, right, I got all this land, right, and I'm growing marijuana. Could you come to me and say, look, I want to open I want to Act 2 strain. I want, and you pay me to grow it on my farm. Somebody else pay me to grow their strain. Somebody, like, I'm just growing it, and I'm, y'all using my land to grow it.
Well, it won't be that. It'll be, can we use your land to grow on?
Right.
It's not like you're paying the farmer to go out there and grow. No. Can we use your land? Can I bring my team down here? Who of growers and people who know. You can't just trust a farmer to grow weed. That shit might not grow right. That's a process, babe. You just don't drop seeds in the ground and in the dirt and it grows. It's got to be cut, taken care of, watered at a certain time. There's teams of people who do that, not just the farmer. He can grow corn. So the farmer,
you're leasing his land.
Yeah, you can lease a piece of some acres and
but you'll have your workers work the land.
Yeah, hell
But
yeah.
Again, so still you're
who've
talking
been growing
about
weed for years for you, who know what the hell's going on.
But look at the jobs you're talking about. The farmer, right? I just got this land. You want to lease this plot of land? It costs this much, or we can give you this much. It costs this much, or if you want all my land, it costs this much.
Right.
And then you got the people who are workers who work in the land. Then you got the people who I'm sure got to come and collect it. Okay.
Well, we all know that that's minimal wage because it's probably Spanish people who work on farms and collect plants and stuff like that. Like, it's not like black and white people who want those jobs.
No, but I'm just talking about the different jobs that the marijuana industry is now creating. Because just like you said, just like the person who is cultivating the seeds, they have to know. I think there has to be a certain lesson in giving in how to pick the marijuana. Like,
I'm talking about the people who harvest it are the Spanish and Latino people. The people who put the seed strains together and all that kind of shit, they're like almost scientists. Like, some of these people are educated. Like,
it just is. You
gotta know the flowering
to
process and all that shit. And like, I tried to grow weed. That shit didn't work.
Yo,
you don't know.
No, it did work.
I didn't smoke it.
No, you didn't smoke it, but it grew.
It died. It didn't work right.
He did grow a plant, y'all. I don't know if you should be saying that. Are you allowed to grow a plant in New Jersey?
I'm not. That was long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Long ass time ago.
Yeah, long time ago.
I'm talking like that was like 25 years ago. Yeah, hell with that.
I just think it's a very interesting.
Side illegal now.
It's a very interesting conversation because the legalization of marijuana is here. Like, more of the government is in favor of than is against it, and I think that's surprising to me. I think that's why I think that people are going to, at some point, they're going to have to let these people out of jail, because it's literally snowballing and becoming so big in society. It's going to really, it's making its wave and footprint in society, just like social media has.
Some states are coming around. Some people are actually getting with it. The state we live in now, New Jersey, passed a bill that 25% of their marijuana licenses have to be set aside for blacks. So while they didn't have to pass a bill like that, they didn't have. I'm just saying.
No, what I'm saying
is, have to do that.
It sounds good. That's great. That's awesome that they're saying that. Mm-hmm. It's sad because it's like, damn, like, how can we help more black people get the money to do it? Yeah. That was my side. It's like, damn, like,
New York is coming around. New York emphatically said that they won't vote unless their licenses are redirected to people of color that's coming out of prison. So they won't vote on any change or any laws in New York unless that's a part of it.
Again, that sounds great. People coming out of prison, where the hell are you getting money from? Mm-hmm. You know?
30 to 40,000 dispensaries in the country. You said 10%. You was high. It's 4%.
Are black owned? Wow.
Out of 30 to 40,000 dispensaries across the country, 4% are owned by people of color.
That's really low.
Out of 30 to 40,000 dispensaries in the country, 4% have blacks in them. 17% of blacks have executive positions in those companies.
Okay, so they make, you know what, that's one of those things where it's like.
So 30 to 40,000 dispensaries, you got blacks, 17% in executive positions.
So they may not be the owner, but they making money. They making money working there. Yeah. So again, it's creating.
Because a lot of these companies, I said before, when you apply for a license, you have to show them a diversity plan first. Yeah. Of what you're going to hire, who you're going to hire, women. Like all that. You got to show that.
And it's one of those things that, people talk about. I think what they've done now is change the language from affirmative action to diversity plan. Because, affirmative action always had a negative connotation because it's saying, oh, I'm going to hire you because I have to meet this quota. Yeah, because I have to meet this quota of having black people here. And I was never for or against affirmative action. I just felt like, give me the job if I deserve it. Not, we got to fill this quota. But if it's a white man and I'm a black woman and I'm better than him, give me the job because of that. I don't think I ever would have took a job. I don't think because of affirmative action. I never was in favor of it. And I understand black people's argument of the 60s. Because there was just like restriction against jobs and loans. Mm-hmm. So you had to put something in place that made white people You did, because some people just would have never hired a black person.
Hired a black person. So I get that part. But to, like you said, to be in there and like, educated, I'm trying my hardest, I'm able, I can learn, I'm capable, and you just looking past that and giving me the job just because I'm number 6? Or, you know, you got
but
one
would you have
black and
known?
you got to hire one this year.
And see, you know what? You made a...
You will know, I think. Because that shit will come out at work.
I would say, or you'll feel it like they don't want me here. But you made a good point. We were watching something, and I don't remember... Oh, I know. We were watching Selling Tampa. And one of the realtors, she came from a law firm. And I'm going to just make this up. Like, it was like...
Making this up.
I'm sorry. I'm going to just make
this up.
I'm going to just make this up.
Making this up.
I think it was like... Was it 500 lawyers or 5,000 lawyers?
500, I think.
500.
Big fucking law
firm.
It
was a big law firm. 500 lawyers. And she was the only black woman. Mm-hmm. And that just like made me think, I don't want to be there. Now, that doesn't mean that it wasn't other black men. Because she specifically said the only black woman. But I just... So that's one of the things about affirmative action. It's like, okay, if you got to have one of every 10 people be black, you got 100 people here, now it's 10 of us. It's gonna feel like
you can easily see that.
Yeah.
You can look around and count that.
But where I was going with that, I think with diversity plans now, it changes the conversation because it makes people say, okay, it's not just about hiring black people. It means that you don't just have to have them on the workforce, but you have to have them in there has to be hiring equity. So just to say, oh, we got 3 black people that work here, but one is part of the janitorial staff, one is the clerical staff, and one is in a C-level suite. Like, why can't we have 6 black people here, 4 be in the C-level suite, you know, 1 be clerical and 1 be janitorial if that's the job they applied for. So I think diversity plan changes the conversation where it's not just you got to have a black face in there, but you have to really prove that you care about having a diverse workforce.
Mm-hmm. Some people don't, though. Most people don't. Especially when talking about big white corporations. It's a proximity thing. People like to be around people who look like them. That's been our argument for years. I want to see people representation, so people are comfortable like we are around black people.
I get
people
that.
Who talk like us, people who get our jokes, people who get our nuances. We're comfortable around that. White people are too.
I get that, but let me tell you this. If you're a white person watching this and you have a company and it's all white people, adding black people to anything will make it better. I stand on that.
I'm saying that because I truly mean that, but I'm saying that because I'm the top foreman in an all white construction company. So I'm it's not like,
and you make it better.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying I understand like a company being all white and you being the only black person there, or having to feel like I got to do a little extra because it's a lot of white people around me, or they might think that white boy is good as me or something like that. Like I just get that.
Yeah.
What's your beef? I don't have no beef. You got a beef?
I got a beef. There's a lady named Janie Perry from East Chicago, Indiana. There was a horrible story that I read this week where she punished her 6-year-old child by making him stand in a cold shower for however long. Don't know how long.
Fuck Janie.
He died. Okay?
Standing in the shower?
I guess, I don't know whether he developed hypothermia or what, but...
Oh.
An ice cold shower.
Janie should be skinned.
No, let me finish.
And rolled around in salt.
Let me finish. So, he died. He started vomiting. Nobody called 911 or anything. He died. Then she birthed another, and y'all know I don't usually curse on this show.
Then don't.
And I'm not gonna curse. But she birthed another cunt like herself. Her son, Jeremiah, 20 years old. Her and her son, her 20-year-old son, decide they're going to take this 6-year-old baby and dump his body in an abandoned house. And then reported him missing, concocted this BS story. Nevertheless, Janie Perry she's my beef of the week. Like, I hope they get her for blood in prison.
Jenny Perry should be skinned.
And her son,
she should
Jeremiah.
be rolled around in salt. Jeremiah should be skinned. Skin should be taken off the body. Should be rolled around in salt. Should be put outside. Nicole should be fanned with a towel with no skin so it can burn. All type of shit.
Rest in peace, Damari Perry. His name deserves to be remembered. He was a 6-year-old beautiful boy. That's all I'm gonna say. Rest in peace, Damari Perry.
Rest in peace, Damari Perry. What's her name again?
Jenny Perry.
She should die. 3 grams. Maya Angelou on a quarter.
Yay! I cannot wait to get my. I don't go anywhere. Can you take me out the house so I can get a quarter?
I'll take you out the house. We'll take you out the house all fucking day tomorrow.
Take me for a drive. I cannot wait to get a quarter. I'm gonna save it. I don't know how valuable it's gonna be because everybody don't have them, but I'm saving a Maya Angelou quarter. I was so excited to see that.
When they gonna put Harriet Tubman on the 20?
I don't know. I think that's pushing it.
They were supposed to do that. They had.
I thought that was rumors. Was that real?
The Mint had said that she was going on there.
When it comes, I'm gonna be excited, but I'm really and please don't take this the wrong way. We all know who Harriet Tubman is. Shout out to her. Salute to her. We are grateful for the contribution she's made to society. I think for Maya Angelou, it resonates a little more because we lived.
But do they belong on money?
Does Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt?
But that was their. It's almost like. I don't know. It's almost like that was, those white presidents that owned slaves and shit like that. They put them on money and that's what held the money to a high regard. And I'm not saying that the money isn't held to a high regard, like as we're sitting here, but it's like, okay, does the celebrities and stars that we grew up with, the poets and things like that, does Michael Jackson belong on money?
No, but I think to your point, no, I hope that no celebrities ever get on money.
Should they put Frederick Douglass on money?
I would think Frederick Douglass holds
Nat
that
Turner?
standard. He killed a lot of white people. They probably never gonna put him on money. They probably not.
Smokey Robinson?
No, he's an entertainer.
Barry Gordy?
No entertainers, but those people who have been.
Maya Angelou was an entertainer. She was a poet who went around the world saying poems.
But she wasn't like one of those kind of poets, though. I think she was one of those people who she really made a difference in American literature. Mm-hmm. Not just thinking of just being a poet. She made a difference in American literature.
By poems is what I'm saying. It's not like she made up words. She taught literature and she was a poet. She said she wrote poems.
That's literature.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you.
So
I'm just saying.
She had a huge impact on American literature.
So you wouldn't look at her like an entertainer. You wouldn't look at a poet like an entertainer?
Not a poet of her stature. No.
Okay.
No.
All right, I give you that. Something popular now, 5 years, everyone will be embarrassed by.
Something
that everybody's doing now, and 5 years from now, they're going to be like, womp, 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 womp. Wish I didn't do that.
I hope, well...
not like BBLs or nothing.
No. I was gonna say, I hope those snuffleupagus eyelashes that girls wearing. I hope they. Nowadays you look back and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I had those tight bangs or whatever kind of haircut you might regret.
I know. Look,
I hope that people.
Women out there, I know. I'm a man. I'm a married man, and I know y'all get dressed for y'all. Y'all don't get dressed for nobody else. But I'm just saying, from a man perspective. From a male perspective, you could be a drop dead gorgeous 10, and when you put eyelashes on,
let me add a caveat to that. It's when you put eyelashes on and they're noticeable. That's the thing with fake things that people lost.
I'm glad she
back
jumped
in the
and said that,
day,
because I didn't mean just regular eyelashes, but eyelashes that's like 2 inches
that
long,
can't be real,
like this, like hands.
That's the thing. Whether it's fake hair, if you got fake boobs, if you get in a fake butt, it should look. People should have to question, like, wow, is that really hers? Like, because it looks so nice. I have people ask me about my lashes often when I wear mascara because it elongates them, and you got to kind of look to see like, wow, your lashes are really long. Are they real? So if you do wear fake lashes, it's nothing wrong with that, but they should look real. Nobody should be able to be like, oh, your fake lashes look like. I just don't get, where did we lose that in wanting to have whatever you do fake. Now, of course, there's some things that if you have 40-inch bundles, everybody know it's not real, but at least it should have some realism to it where your hair is blended nicely or something with it. I don't know. The lashes, they should just look real.
That's lashes, they shouldn't even sell 2-inch lashes. I don't know what purpose that is
or the
for.
real thick, fluffy ones.
They look like little caterpillars.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's about. It looked like somebody teased your eyelash. I don't know what the fuck that's about. I don't know. And again, y'all put on shit for y'all, and I get that. So you don't have to tell me women get dressed for us. It ain't for men. I understand that. But just a man looking at a woman, it's like, damn, why are eyelashes like that? Like, that shit not attractive. It's not cute to us, just so you know. Maybe it's cute to you, but it's not cute to us. Last gram, and I mean this in satire / seriousness. She vaxxed, I'm vaxxed. We're not boosted, but vax don't work. People still get sick. People still dying, even when they vaxxed, even when they boosted. People got vaxxed and boosted and got COVID and died. People thought that they could get the vax and not get COVID, but they was misinformed, because you get the vax, you still get COVID, and then it seemed like, okay, then why did I get the vax if I'm still going to get sick? It just seemed like we all got vaxxed because they told us we wasn't going to die if we got hospitalized, but it's like everybody's still getting sick. And my whole thing is, it's not going to be over when everybody's vaxxed. It's going to be over when everybody's infected. That's when COVID's over.
So you think everybody has to get infected?
It seems, yeah. It seems like everybody has to get infected for this to go away. But if everybody's vaxxed, that doesn't mean anything, because it's still going to go around. We're still going to catch it. People still going to get it.
My thing is this, and I told you this.
I knew somebody at work that got vaxxed. And got the booster, and 2 days after he got the booster, he got COVID.
So I told you this a long time ago. I think the problem is that this whole propaganda that they're pushing, it's flawed because they have consistently talked about, the death rates. When you hear somebody saying, and I'm not, in no way, shape, or form downplaying the fact that people did die. When you hear them saying 1,000 people died today, 10,000 people died this week, 1 million people died, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that died.
A ticker on CNN.
So let's think about this though. Let's go back. Let's say 10,000 people got COVID today, 1,000 people died. That changes your perception. Now, this week, 250,000 people got COVID, 10,000 people died. Now, this year, 40 million people got COVID, 1 million people died. I'm not changing the numbers of how many people died, but I'm painting the bigger picture. And that's what they never did. They kept pushing the death rate, but they weren't saying how many people. Okay, 1 million people died. How many people contracted COVID? That million is representation of, I think it was like 2% of people dying. And that's what they started doing. They started just telling us how many people died. They never put things in perspective to say, yes, it's dangerous. Yes, you can die, but you can survive and, still go on. They just wanted to push this vaccination. And then, like you said, we're realizing y'all wasn't telling us the whole truth about this.
I understand your point, but I do not agree with it being the last gram. Let's wrap it up. But people died. And let me finish. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. You said your piece, let me say mine. That's the most important thing. So I don't give a shit about you can survive. You might not. And some people, like myself, are not willing to take that chance with my loved one, whether it be my daughter, you, me, like our sisters. Like, it's not, It's not cool to be like, oh, 1 million people died out of 40 million, and that's okay. That's not okay. One person is too much. That's a family torn the fuck apart. So, yeah, it could be you. It could be me. You could get sick and be okay. I could get sick and fucking die. So it happened good for you, but not good for me. Or it could be vice versa. So 1 million people dying out of 40 million, it's too fucking many. It's too many. It's too much. People dying is the ultimate. They don't come back. It's a wrap.
I agree. I was just...
So you can't just say that in a sense of, look at the bigger picture. If 40 million people got it or 100 million people got it, 1 million people died. Like, no, that's 1 million fucking funerals.
But what I was saying, what I was making the point, and maybe I didn't make my point, obviously I didn't make my point, is that I agree with you. They were pushing the vaccination behind these death numbers without giving us the full picture. So people started thinking, oh my God, I gotta get vaccination.
I understood what you were saying, but I was saying the death numbers, I think, was why they was pushing that, because that was the most important thing. People are dying. That's the most important thing, because I want to hear about who died. I care about 100 people in the hospital, but if you want to tell me 2 people died, I want to hear about them and how they died and what can I do to prevent from dying. The people in the hospital might be okay.
I got you.
Act 2 the podcast, episode 53. That's a wrap. Again, you can catch us on act2thepodcast.com. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on Breaker. You can catch us on Anchor. You can catch us on Radio Public. You can catch us on Google Podcasts, Instagram. You can catch us all over any of those platforms.
You can FaceTime us.
No, don't FaceTime us. Don't FaceTime us. Not unless you know FaceTimed us before. If you never FaceTimed us, then don't FaceTime us now. That's a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 53. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.